Life is precious, and we all have the opportunity of living it to the fullest. Unfortunately, so few of us know how to manage it all. How do we account for our opportunities? How do we account for our time? How do we account for our relationships, health, spirituality, homes, finances, influence, and careers? How do we account for the one life we have to live? I am so glad you asked. In this program, you will find answers to all of these questions and more. Welcome to the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore.
What's happening, everybody? I want to welcome you back to another episode of the Account for Life podcast. Jay Moore here, the healthy accountant, helping you to account for your life. Guys, what an awesome and incredible day. Man, today I just want to, celebrate with you. Today's Labor Day. Many of you may not be working. You may be taking the labor. You may not be laboring today. So yes, this is Labor Day in the United States. If you're listening, September the 5th, 2022. And man, what an awesome and incredible day to be alive. And today, we're just going to jump into something that many of us love. We love talking about success. We're going to talk about how failure is pretty much guaranteed. Failure happens because of one, well, I won't say just one thing, but it could happen because of this one thing. So today we're going to look at the one thing, and then we'll also look at what my blueprint loves to talk about. I'm going to go to the blueprint. I'm going to read a text that helped me to see exactly how failure could happen. So guys, before we jump into that, I just want to say today's program is sponsored by the Healthy Accountant. The Healthy Accountant has an awesome and incredible resource. It's a resource. It's at taxfreewealthchallenge.com, and you should check that out on that website, because it's going to redirect you. It's going to send you to a page where you can get for almost free a library of tools that you could help yourself, help your business to avoid mistakes when it comes to taxes. And look, taxes is the number two. Taxes is the number two expense that you'll have in your lifetime. So think about it. If taxes is the number two thing that's number two expense that you're going to have in your lifetime, shouldn't you pay attention to that? I just want you to think about that. Shouldn't you pay attention to that? Because if you pay attention to that, then you can avoid the costly mistakes that many people make. So look, I'm not selling it. That's up to you. Taxfreewealthchallenge.com. Go and check that out there. So guys, thanks for joining, and let's look at this. So what you think about this? Let's go for a trip. We're going to go for a trip. We're going to go on vacation. And today, where are we headed? Man, I'm in Maryland, DC area. Maybe you're at my house, and we're getting in the car and we're going to head down the road. We said, man, it'd be nice if we can travel across country. Wow, that's a 3-day trip, I heard. I've never done it, but I believe it's a 3-day trip. So, okay, cool. So we're going to jump in the car. We're going to get our Google Maps out. We're going to get our MapQuest, whatever we have, and we're going to set a destination. We're going to say, hey, maybe we're going to Hollywood. We're going to put the address in of where we're going, and we're going to head down the road. Now, that's a 3-day trip. Now, here's the thing. There's probably many ways to get there. Now, but let me ask you a question. If we were going cross country and we know it's going to take 3 days, and we only wanted to take 3 days, are we going to take a whole week? Because we have to get there. So if we have to get there in the 3 days allotted, then that means that we have to take the most direct route. But let me ask you this question. Would you want to take a route that literally would cost you a week, and then get there and you're late for whatever it is that you're supposed to be going out there for? No one would want to do that. So I was thinking about this as I was reading this morning, and there's a text that I want to share with you. It's a pretty simple text. I'm going to share it with you real quick. Hold on. Let's check it out here. Let's get it going. Where's it at? That's not the right one. This one. All right, here it comes. Share that with you Share that with you. All right, so let's look at this text. And this is found in Joshua 1:7. And here's what it says. It says, only be thou strong and very courageous, that thou mayest observe to do according to the law, which Moses my servant commanded thee. Turn not from it to the right hand or to the left, that thou mayest prosper whithersoever thou goest. Guys, I want you to understand what this text is saying. Now, here's the thing. That text, I, I don't always read that text. I'm usually reading 1:8, Joshua 1:8, which is, and we'll get to that in a second. But that text, I want you to look at some key words in that text. It says, don't turn from the right or the left. Now, prior to that, it says, look, you can only do one thing. It says, only be courageous. Imagine we're on that trip. We're going down the road and it's dark and, we're going down dark roads and it does, it looks like we're going through towns that, doesn't look, is this the right way? Yeah, it's the right way because we have the map. See, the thing is, God has set you and I up to win. Yep, he set you and I up. He's telling Joshua, like when that passage of scripture started in Joshua, in verse number 1, God's talking to Joshua. He says, all right, look, Moses is dead, bro. He's like, Moses is gone. And because Moses is gone, then it's time for you to step up. And here's the thing. I'm going to make sure that you win. But here's the thing. You can only win if you're courageous. So one of the things that he's telling Joshua, the first thing he's saying is, look, the first thing you got to do is be courageous. That's the first thing you got to do. The first thing you have to do is be courageous, and you must do everything that Moses already told you to do. So Moses had already given them a blueprint. What was the blueprint? He gave you the book. He gave you the law. He told you, look, keep that in your mouth. But here's the thing. He says, don't turn to the right or to the left. Why? Because if you don't turn to the right or to the left, you'll get to where you're going. So one of the things that a lot of people miss when they try and figure, well, why did I fail at things? Why didn't I get to where I was going? You didn't get to where you was going because you kept going back and forth from one place to the next, getting off at the wrong exits. So if we were heading out to California from Maryland, it's going to take us 3 days, and we only have 3 days to get there. We cannot get off on the wrong exits. We cannot take the wrong path. We cannot say, you know what, instead of going straight, we're going to go up and around through Michigan. We're going to go up through the Great Lakes. Man, we're going to go that way and then come down. No, you can't do that. You got to go straight across, because straight across is going to get you there. And so God's telling Joshua, the only way you're going to understand not to go from the left or to the right or left, whichever it is, you're going to have to be courageous. Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you came up against something that was hard, that was like you're in a bad situation? Do you know a lot of times when people are successful, it's because of how bad their situation has got? Man, just let me think of something. I'm not going to use myself because it doesn't really matter about me. I want to use people that literally was about to fail. So let's look at somebody like a Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was in a bad situation. They kicked him out of his own company. Kicked him out. Come on, it's his company. It's his company. And they said, get out. We don't want you no more. He's the brain behind the company. And they're saying, go away. But here's the thing. What did he do? He kept going straight. Even though it looked like, man, Apple is done. But you know what? He says, well, I'm still gifted. Let me ask you a question. This morning I was sitting in the chair. I said, man, just thinking about your gifts and thinking about what God has planted in you. I says, wow, a gift is amazing because it really doesn't become a gift unless you really cultivate it. I want you to write that down. It really doesn't become a gift unless it's cultivated. So a lot of times it starts out as talent. Man, you're talented at something. But what happens is over time, it becomes a gift and it becomes a part of you. And then that's when it just goes crazy. So Steve Jobs, think about it. He gets kicked out of his company and he was messed up. You got to go read his book. He was messed up over that. But you know what? He realized how gifted he was. He wasn't just talented at that point. And then that's when he went to Pixar. And he went to Pixar and he blew them up. He blew them up. I think it was the other company, Next or something like that. And it was because of those things that he did that Apple then became the company, because when they went back and brought him back in, he then used those experiences to help Apple to get to the next level. But here's the thing. Let's think about Joshua now. Joshua is there and Moses is gone. Moses is dead, and God's just like now. There's a key word inside. I think it's verse number 1 of Joshua 1, and Joshua is mentioned at being, I think it was verse 2. Moses' minister. What is like, who is that, and what is Moses' minister? That's okay. That's someone who was being who was underneath Moses, learning all the stuff. So he was being groomed to be a leader. A lot of times you have to be groomed to get to the next level. You have to be groomed to be successful. And a lot of times when you hang around, when you're with those transformational leaders, you can't help but have the characteristics of those people. So Joshua was being groomed to be next. And now here it is. It's time to move forward. So if we're going to be successful, if you're not going to fail, then first thing that God is telling Joshua is, well, you're going to have to be courageous, because you're going to come against some things that's going to make you it's going to make you actually have a desire to go from the right to the left. It's going to make you to think, I can't go straight, because God took him to, I can't remember the name of the river. And Joshua had to split the river just like Moses had to do it. He was going to take him to places in his life where he would have to go straight, even amidst, huge obstacles in front of him. Yes, there were huge obstacles in front of him. And so he says, you're going to have to be courageous, because if you're not courageous, then you're going to go to the right or you're going to go to the left and you won't be successful. So as we get ready to close this up here, look, failure, guys, is simple. Failure is because we come up against an obstacle, we come up against a challenge, and we don't realize how powerful we are. We don't realize what God has already gifted you with. We don't realize that we've already been predestined. Yep, you've been predestined to win. So if you were predestined to win, then that just means that you now have to be courageous. You have to say to yourself, I'm strong. That's right. I'm powerful. I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. And when this obstacle comes before me, I will walk. I will go through it. I will go around it. I will go above it. I will rise up. And that obstacle will become my footstool. But here's the thing, guys. Many of us have come up against these obstacles. Look, life has dealt many of us big challenges. I'm sure you've had some big challenges. Life has dealt us some big challenges. I was just talking to a good friend yesterday. He was telling me about some challenges that one of his friends had. Loss of a brother, loss of an aunt, loss of a son, all in the span of 3 days. And I said to myself, wow, there's a calling on that person's life. When challenges come, what that means is, even though those challenges came and maybe other people were affected, we have to then decide, well, what does this mean for our life? Where is our life supposed to go right now? Where's your life supposed to be? See, God wants to take you into a new place, but he can only take you into that new place when you decide to be courageous, when you decide to be strong, when you decide to allow the word that he's given us to be that blueprint, so we can take the blueprint and do what it says. And he also says this as we close: don't turn from the right and don't turn to the left. You must go straight. Guys, failure will happen if you do those things. So don't do them. Go straight. Allow those challenges to be your footstool, and allow those challenges to be the reason why you won the game, and allow those challenges to be why you could account for your life. Guys, I want to thank you so much for joining me for another episode of the Account for Life podcast. I'm Jay Moore. I'm your healthy accountant, helping you to account for your life. God bless, and I'll see you on the next episode. Peace.
Thanks for joining us, listening friends. We are so glad you invested this time with us. Always remember, you only have one life to live, so live it to the fullest. This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time, make it a great day.